One of the first things that people ask me is what are classes like, or what are my workshops like, and this really varies. Basically, classes are designed specifically for you. So usually when we meet up, the first few classes are helping you get through the content, what each section is like, for example. And then we focus specifically on what you need. If you need help with reading, then we work through the reading section. If you need help with speaking, we do speaking practice. If you need help with writing, we do writing practice. Typically write essays for me, and I edit them in front of you, and then I give you feedback. So for speaking, you would do speaking activities, and then I give you feedback immediately. With reading, I might send you home to do reading exercises, and then you come in and we look at the ones you got wrong, and we go through strategies to help you improve those scores. I don't typically need to work with people too much on listening, but in that case, I'd probably help you with note taking. So individual classes are very, very specific as to what you need. Workshops vary. If I do a workshop on a given section, like for example, if I do a workshop on writing, then the whole workshop will be writing. We'll work on brainstorming, we'll work on outlining, we'll work on writing your essay. We'll discuss what the essay needs. You'll write some things while you're there, and then I'll give you feedback on them. We'll look at editing some different essays, things like that. Everything is very, very active, and it's all about practicing and putting things. You are doing things. I don't want to be doing things or telling you how to do them. I explain things and then you do them and you practice them. I always want my workshops to be, and my classes to be as proactive as possible. I am. Like, why am I doing this? How am I qualified? Basically, I've been doing this for at least 6 or 7 years. When I lived in the United States, I'm from the United States. I went to school, university in New Jersey, and I started working for Kaplan, which many of you have probably heard of. I helped them. I gave individual training classes for the SAT, which is very much like the PSAU here. And I learned a lot of strategies for test taking with them and how to work with people and prepare them for tests. When I came to Chile, some people approached me about doing something similar, but for the TOEFL. I took a look at the TOEFL, realized what it was about, and felt very comfortable being able to do the same for the TOEFL. So I have many years now, I spent many years doing that. When I'm not doing this, I work part-time at the University of Concepcion. I teach in the Pedagogia carrera, and I teach in the translation carrera. And I've been there about 5 years. Prior to that, I worked in a few institutes, but I don't really do that anymore. And my degree is actually in English literature, so I spend a lot of time writing. I have a very, very fundamental writing background. It's very large. And I minored in economics, which some people find a little weird, but actually helps me out at times. So that's my basic background. I graduated in 2003 now, and so I've been working for a little over 10 years. A lot of people want to know about pricing, and this varies a lot. Sometimes I'll do charlas, and I'll do them for free. They're usually more about, they're about an hour long, and they're about content. Workshops vary. Workshops can vary from like 5,000 to up into 200,000. Sometimes I do some really extensive workshops where I'll spend 2 weekends going through like all the sections and different strategies for people, and then I'll do follow-up activities. Um, Sometimes I'll do like a 20,000 or 30,000 sorry, 20,000 peso workshop, and there'll be, maybe a group of 6 to 8 people, and it'll focus on writing, for example. Individual classes also vary based on when you take them, and they vary between 14,000 pesos and 30,000 pesos, depending on when you take them. Come to me for a class, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what score do you need on the TOEFL? And then I try to see how much work we need to do to get there based on where you are. I've worked with, I would guess now at this point, between 50 to 100 people, because I typically work individually. I mean, if I include my workshop people as well, it's probably a little higher. But usually at least with my individual classes, the people who report back to me, they do get the score they need. Most people who come to me need between an 82 and 88. That's the most common score range, although I have worked with people who need 90s and people who need hundreds. So I can definitely work with people who need higher scores, and that's no problem at all. But so far, I've only had one student who wasn't able to get the score that she needed. One student, and she ended up traveling anyway, and everything worked out. But aside from that, it's very common that my students get the scores they need. People don't typically ask this, but I think it's important to let you know that if you were unsatisfied with the class or the workshop, I would obviously refund your money. All you would have to let me know is that you are unsatisfied, and I would give you your money back. I've never had this happen. I'm open to it, but I would not want to take anyone's money if they were unsatisfied. I, have run a small business, and if people are unsatisfied, that doesn't help me at all because most of my students come to me through word of mouth. So it's important to me that everyone be satisfied and happy with the results of their work.